Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel for a car event. Today we are in downtown Detroit for the 2023 Detroit Concours d'Elegance. I'm really excited to show you guys around the show. They have some very rare and unique vehicles here. Anything that could be new or concept cars, as well as classic vehicles and exotics. This show did replace the Concours show at the Inn of St. John's. I did also film a video there a few years ago, but it is really nice to be here at the Detroit Institute of Arts. So let's walk around and see what is here. So over here we have a lot of exotic Ferraris and a lot of the older ones too. Now this one obviously looks special, but honestly I do not know the model name. And here's a Dino. These are pretty valuable, I've heard. Ferraris really are some of the most exotic looking cars on the roads today, even the old ones as well. Now these are some special cars. This Huracan, this is actually really made for off-roading. I believe it has a lift to it. Obviously some lights up front as well. A really cool roof rack for a spare tire. But there's this weird automotive section of the industry that is kind of going off-road exotics. It's just a strange thing that's becoming popular these days to have these exotic cars that are made for off-roading, at least to an extent. Honestly, most owners probably will never take that car off-road. And over here is a very special Rolls-Royce. This is the Spectre. So this is the first electric Rolls-Royce ever. And it's obviously a coupe. A very traditional Rolls-Royce on the inside. Still looks like a Rolls-Royce on the outside as well. Very aggressive front end design. Truly is beautiful. Huge wheels, but I'm glad it still looks like a Rolls-Royce even though it's electric. May as well take a quick walk through some of the Porsches here. Man, just look at the pop-up headlights on this model. Almost looks like a frog or something. That's funny. Now this looks unique to me. This reminds me of the bathtub style Porsches, except usually they're convertible when I see them. So this one's probably all the more special and rare. Very nice. Now we're in the post-war European section. Nice looking Rolls-Royce. I guess that Mercedes does count as post-war. I'm not really interested in the Fiats, honestly. I'm probably not going to walk over there, but we can check out this Rolls-Royce. This is in the pre-war section. Wow. It almost looks bare bones in here. Massive headlights. Just look at that. I was at this show last year for the first time ever, and they did have a good amount of General Motors products here, and they did have a really special Buick wide job, which is basically the first ever concept car in a way, but it was Harley Earl's car and he drove it for quite some time, so that was very cool to see. So I'm excited to walk around just to see what other kind of products from General Motors are here. Hopefully some Cadillacs is what I'm hoping for. Have my fingers crossed. So we're in the Designs of Gordon Burig section. Got a Mustang, something else, and that looks like a Accord over there, I believe. We'll take a closer look. Yeah, it looks like it is a Accord, I believe, yep. And I think I've actually seen this vehicle before. This is at Amelia Island when we were there a few years ago, I believe. And it looks very much like an airplane from the 40s, but designed to be a car on the road. Very much a cockpit design. I'm sure it's warm in there with the sun out. Just look at all those controls. That is cool. It's a lot like an airplane. I don't know what that is. Maybe the fuel tank? You think that's the fuel tank, Dad?
Yes.
Interesting.
And it's got the guy's name in the back.
Oh, Tasco. Is it a light, license plate light maybe? Yeah, that's probably what that is. Would you drive this car?
Just for fun, I would. I wouldn't want it every day, but I would drive it for special occasions.
So like I mentioned earlier, I was hoping I would find some Cadillacs, and boy did I. We have some right over here, and they're special too. Ever since they announced the Celestiq, I've been wanting to see it in person. However, this isn't the production model, this is the concept car version, so it's slightly different from the actual. That front end is certainly imposing. And on the production models, and the models I've been driving around, they look just a little bit different up front. Got a sensor in the grille and whatnot, but still the sizing is essentially the same. Also the door for the electric port's a little different, and the interior is slightly different, but you still get the same idea. of what it'll be like when they actually start building these later this year. Very limited production, only about 400 are going to be built every year, I believe. A little bit over 1 car per day will be built. Each section of the roof will be able to essentially dim and not let sunlight in. And the Celestiq will also bring back the Goddess. And most people online, they seem to not like the rear end design of this car the most, but I think it works. I think it has a very unique look. It's going to be different from anything else on the road, that's for sure. And that's really what the buyers of this car are going to want, something that looks different, something that looks special, and this car certainly fits both. And I think it's going to put Cadillac in an interesting and unique position for the future. I'm really glad I finally get to see the Celestiq in person. And by the Celestiq, very fitting to have the Brougham here, Cadillac's last hand-built car. Just look at that interior. I know we've seen multiple of these on the channel before. I think the last time would have been at the 2022 Cadillac Fall Festival. But I always love looking at them just because of how beautiful they are. One of the best looking Cadillacs ever made. And there's also a V16 Cadillac here as well. Absolutely gorgeous color. Looks like there might be a clock in there, maybe a speedometer too. I love that. And of course, a beautiful dashboard. I will say the Eldorado Brougham and this Cadillac here, they truly do look like Cadillacs. Ah, this is an Oldsmobile. Oldsmobile 98 would have been top end, I believe. And my dad and I noticed how well the exterior colors match the interior. Really beautiful. All right, now we're going to another section where people have brought in their own cars. I believe they had to be invited, most likely, but it'll be fun to check out what is over here. They have a BMW Isetta, one of the smallest cars ever. I'm sure all these cars are just perfect. It's a beautiful Buick station wagon. And look at this Britz. Oh boy, is it perfect. Very blue. Everything is just that same blue color. Between this Eldorado Britz and the Eldorado Brougham, man, they both would be so much fun to have. I'd probably still take the Brougham though, just because of how much more special and unique it is, but this is still fantastic. And I love that it's a convertible too. Check out the Rolls Royce here. Now that is some glossy wood. Just look at that. Guess you have the little picnic tables for the back. Hopefully your food wouldn't blow away from the wind having the top down. The color kind of matches your shirt, Dad. Wow.
Maybe I should get this car.
Yeah, you match it. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
The other one is, yeah, one does look like a cigarette lighter.
Yeah, maybe it is a cigarette lighter, maybe a light, but I don't see any lights. I don't know. Window? Oh, no, there's a crank for the window. 427. These C2s are beautiful. Take a look at the interior. A couple Cadillacs here on the end in the pre-war section. This one here got best in class. We'll check out this one first. It got a style and design award. Very interesting paint job on this Cadillac. Wow.
Oh, yes, I did see it.
I have no idea how these levers on the steering wheel work. All of those different levers and switches on the dash. I have no idea how to drive this car. It would be kind of tough to get in the back. You'd have to open the door and lift up the windshield. Beautiful car. That would be great if you don't mind. I'm just kind of curious how it works because the it looks like the windshield would hit the roof. Unless if you can lower it. There you go. Wow. Look at that, and it's perfect back here. So is that supposed to go up with a mirror like that? Is that like a design so you can leave it up if you wanted to?
Well, not while you're driving.
Okay, beautiful. Now what year is this?
1929.
Now how is it to drive? Is it still ride like a Cadillac? Is it, I mean...
A 1929 Cadillac. It's a beast to drive.
I'm sure it is, I'm sure it is. Now how did you come across this car?
I went down to St. Louis to a dealer that does classic cars. I was looking for a Packard, and this came off the trailer. He just bought it in Amelia.
Oh, Amelia Island, okay, sure.
And it just happened to be delivered that day, and I said, I like it. And I worked for Cadillac for years. So.
Oh, really? Okay. What did you do for Cadillac?
Manufacturing engineer and then plant manager.
Wow.
Ran a car plant.
Well, it's a beautiful car, incredible. So I'm a huge Cadillac fan. All right, and we'll check out the first in its class, this other Cadillac. It's another V16. You gotta look under the hood here. Wow. It's just a huge engine, but also beautiful. I love how cars from this era, the engines were art pieces. In today's engines, they're just a bunch of plastic underneath the hood, but this one, very, very beautiful.
Put over and you squeeze in that oil.
Oh, really?
It lubricates them.
Got to lubricate. I can't imagine the Cadillac owner wanting to
Well, the chauffeur
lubricate the engine. Yeah, chauffeur hopefully would have done that. Of course, we got to check out the inside too. Wow, all that metal. I love how that spotlight has its own post that it sits on top of. Looks like something that should be on a boat. And for all the Buick fans on the channel, we've got a lot of them to view here. And starting off with one of the oldest ones. Yeah, look at that metal. Do you think that's brass, Dad, or do you think that's something else?
Brass, and you can see the gear. There's a chain drive. So there's
Oh,
a chain
really?
underneath that powered it if you go underneath.
Oh, you're right. There's a chain. Wow. This has got to be one of the first years of Buick, I would think. And I wonder what this object was used for.
You'd have to lubricate those gears.
Yeah, I guess you lubricate them somehow, maybe.
And then the chain would have to be lubricated regularly.
This Buick is quite large. I don't know if they're drying off their clothes or protecting the steering wheel with their shirt, but that is there. Wow, it really looks comfortable. I love the red. And this Buick looks pretty sporty. Now, reading the sign down there, apparently this is to commemorate a pace car at the Indy 500 from the time.
Buick paced the Indianapolis 500 in 75 and 76. And each year they made some pace car additions,
Okay.
factory-built replicas. So this is not something that came together in somebody's garage. This is from Buick. In 75, they built 800 pace car replicas, and this is one of them. Identical to the pace car, except the pace car had a 455, this has a 350.
And I assume there was just an extra cost option. Was it limited to 1800 or was it just, okay, it was limited, okay.
If you ordered, I think it's Y43, but there's an RPO code. You got the stripes and the interior. And all
Interesting.
made it a pace car edition.
It's beautiful.
Well, thank you, you're very kind.
This is a huge car. I don't think I've seen a Buick that looks like this before.
60 chrome squares.
Buick Limited. I love the chrome on the side here too. Limited badge. That's really neat. And this Buick is very unique looking. Maybe not the most beautiful vehicle in the world, but I just love how it's different from every other car from this era and every other car I've seen. I really like the concave grille, how the logo kind of floats in the center of it. It's a Buick Electra. And what's interesting about that name is that Buick, of course, is bringing it back for the electric age. However, it's not going to be a car. I believe they're making crossovers, of course. And they'll use the Electra name, I believe, for several cars, which is kind of a shame. It would be neat if they brought back a car like this, like the original Electra. Now, as you all may remember, I did a review on a 2003 Buick GSX, and we talked a little bit about the original GSXs from the 1970s, and here is one of them. Very rare cars. According to the sign, they've only built 400 of these in the Stage 1. This is number 14 of 678, but a very special performance car. Is one of the most special muscle cars, I should say. Extremely rare, very fast for the time. Absolutely incredible. And I really like how the hood scoops are actually functional. There are holes there for the scoops. But I will say it's really special to see one of these in person, especially after reviewing the kind of more modern version in a way. Jimmy Carter's inaugural parade. It's really neat to see a convertible Continental from this era. And according to the sign, it was saying that Ford would have made this, and it was used as a car in Jimmy Carter's inaugural parade. And as you all probably saw, I did do a review on a Lincoln Continental from this era, so it's really neat to see a convertible version of it. And I really do like the looks of it, but really neat to see such a historic and unique Lincoln. Yeah, lots of Mopar cars over here, that's for sure. I'm not really a Mopar person, but I certainly do, at least today for sure, make some of the fastest cars out there, at least in a straight line. GTX. And ended it off with a Challenger over here. So now we're going to walk over to the automotive innovation section, and it looks like these might be concept cars, I think. And here's what looks like some sort of a special Mustang, And me and my dad are thinking that maybe these are concept cars, but also maybe they're custom, so we don't know for sure. Roadster, that's kind of cool. If this is a custom or a concept car, I think it actually looks really nicely done. And I believe that this is supposed to be a Pontiac of some sort. And a huge hood. This is definitely one of the longest hoods I have ever seen. It looks like a wedge. Very, very interesting looking, that's for sure. So a CF428 prototype, 1964 Ford. I don't see any other information other than that. Cobra, wow. And I guess there are holes here for what would be, what I would think is a hard top of some sort. So an XD Cobra. I've never heard or seen this before. And a Cougar. I like the paint job on this actually, that's pretty neat. Now, this is also a Ford apparently. I don't know if this would have been maybe built to be almost like a Corvette competitor or a potential Corvette competitor.
Is this your car? It belongs to the museum I work
Okay.
I am its custodian. In '62, Ford special ordered a running and driving Shelby a Cobra from Shelby.
Okay.
So in the this is actually CSX number 2008. So this is the 8th Shelby Cobra ever built. They shipped it back to Detroit. They sent it to Dearborn Steel Tubing where they took the bodywork off of it and then built this car on that platform. So this is car number 8 for Shelby. It's actually a 260 4-speed disc brake car. Ford built it in studio. In '63 it did the automotive show tour. In '64 when they released the Mustang at the World's Fair, this car was there. So if you look at the video of the World's Fair in the Ford Pavilion, this car is on the dais in the middle of the show.
Wow.
It's an unrestored car. If you walk around it, you can see it's got some chips and dings from its life as a show car.
Sure.
It belongs to the collection of the Detroit Historical Society. We're super happy to have it. This and its sister car, which is the one next to it. That's the Cobra XD. Eugene Bourdonnais, who was the designer of both cars, decided that he wanted to have a running and driving car that he could show.
Okay.
Like Harley Earl had with the LeSabre.
Yes.
So that is the next generation of Cobra. That's CSX chassis 3001. So that's the first of the next generation of Cobra. That car was a 289 automatic and the first car to have coilover struts. Two really unique pieces of both Ford and Cobra history.
Sure.
Really excited to have them out here. And it's like I said, it's great to have them out in the sun and showing people the cars and their natural
I agree.
habitat.
I agree. Well, thank you for bringing them out. They're beautiful.
Absolutely. Thanks for
you.
having me.
All right, everyone. Well, that was a tour of the Detroit Concours d'Elegance. I really had a fantastic time here seeing all of the unique and rare cars. It's neat to see all of them out in the sunlight, and especially the Cadillacs. I was really excited to see the concept Celestiq here, as well as the Brougham, and of course all the other cars that are here too. So if you all could comment, like, and subscribe to the video, it's a huge help to the channel, and be sure to come back again soon for more videos. Thank you.